Good morning and welcome back to the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Wolt, and today I'm sharing a conversation with Ruben Enriquez. He is the founder and head roaster of the family-run Origen Coffee Roasters in Vista, California. According to Ruben, it can also be called Origen Coffee Roasters, and Origen is Spanish for origin. Ruben has done quite a bit in his career, and he started his coffee company after working as a mechanical engineer. He also spent time exploring the culinary arts and even went to business school. He kept coming back to coffee as a way to connect with his roots, his birthplace in Mexico, the feelings that coffee evoked, and the community it created. From the beginning, it was his goal to source, roast, and serve top-tier organic specialty coffees from producers who demonstrated a commitment to the best sustainability practices. He reiterated to me several times how important it was that it was organic and specialty, not just one or the other. According to Ruben, quote, "This is our foundation. We work directly with some of our farmers at Origen and also with our green coffee importers who believe in our philosophy and support us in finding great organics." In just a moment, you'll hear us talking about his journey to coffee and the growth of his business, one customer at a time, starting with online sales, moving into farmers markets, and eventually into retail. We also talk a little bit about what it's like to work closely with family. While you're listening today, take a moment to follow at Origen Coffee Roasters on Instagram. Origen is spelled O-R-I-G-E-N, and do me a favor by clicking the follow button on at Roast West Coast while you're there. You'll also find links to this podcast's coffee newsletter on roastwestcoast.com. Right now, I'm drinking a can of cold brew that I picked up on a recent road trip across the country. And I think you should grab one too, because it's time for the show. So, Ruben, welcome to the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast. I appreciate you being here. Could you just say for me what the name of your company is and what you do there?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ryan. My name is Ruben Enriquez, and I am the owner and a co-founder and owner and a head roaster of Origen Coffee Roasters.
And how did you pronounce that? Origen?
Origen, or most people right here in the United States say Origen, like Origin, but Origen. Yeah.
So you have Origen Coffee Roasters, but I want to learn a little bit more about you. What was your first experiences with coffee that made you interested in coffee as a drink or as something that you thought would become, a big part of your life?
You know that I don't know. You know that story about a fish that is always on the water. Swimming on the water, and he's happy. He doesn't know anything different until someone take that fish out of the water. That was me, though. Basically, I was born in a place where coffee, especially really good coffee, is grown there, but also it is a very high quality coffee, though. So I was actually immersed in that culture at that time. I didn't realize that until I moved out of my town, when I noticed that I was missing something, and I was like, what is that? Where I started going to coffee shops, even people, family, friends, and everything, and all I could find was instituted canned coffees, instant coffees, and I was like, wait, something is wrong, or maybe I need to go back to my town and try to figure it out what's going on. That was my first experience, though, and it's not something that an experience that I have. Is just that I remember something once I moved out of my town, and I said, oh, there is something that in that town, in my original place, that's hence the name Origen, that actually was calling on me, basically. Yeah, that was.
And I'm sorry, the name of the place that you're from in Mexico is where?
Well, it's in central Mexico. It's Michoacán, Mexico. It's actually the birthplace or one of the birthplaces in the coffee in Mexico. And that town is very rich in terms of climate for coffee. You have altitude, you have the weather, you have lots of water. Lots of good people. Also, actually, right now is one of the epicenters of agricultural in Mexico. So to this day, they still harvest and grow and harvest coffee. Very good coffee there too. Yeah.
So, what was the reason that you left in the first place?
Well, as everyone, you're something in your guts. Something tells you to go. Right. That discover. Pretty much enjoy the world. But basically, to me, the world is. I'm a citizen of the world, basically. So I start moving at different places. I start moving right there in Mexico to the capital, Morelia, at that time, because I was actually at a school at that time. And then I moved to Celaya, Mexico. Then I moved to Baja California. Then I went to the United States. So it was a different places. Actually, from the United States, I actually moved from LA to San Diego at one point. So yeah, that was the reason, basically, something internal.
You end up in San Diego. When do you decide that you're going to start working in coffee?
I was working on a. I'm still working, I can say, in the engineering field. And I don't know if I can put it this way. Whatever profession you have, a medical, whatever you do, engineering, whatever, you have a purpose, and you just have one way to do things, right? So I have the engineering because I have, and I had my creativity. I wanted to put it in different places, right? So I was designing a lot of things, working for different companies, and I'm working on mechanical design, engineering, electrical, manufacturing, quality control, production, management, different things. So at one point, I was like, you know what? I really want to do my own thing, and it was not necessarily engineering. Now the reason is you can do engineering, as I say, engineering is not a broad thing, something that you can say, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life, and that's it. You have a vision as an engineer to start whatever you want, and but you see it within a different scope. I see it with a different lenses, basically. Even in my roastery, all the tools I have, all the it is within the scientific method. You have to observe, repeat and measure things in order to accomplish something. So engineering is not left. It's just I just changed the profession though. Yeah, and I was years after 20 years actually of doing engineering specifically as a career.
So, when did you decide that okay, I'm going to turn my focus back to coffee, this thing from my youth, from this place that I grew up, and I'm going to start. I'm not only going to work in coffee, but I'm going to start my own coffee company.
Well, there was a moment of introspection, and that moment is not just one day. It's just actually a period of time where I was actually looking for ideas, brainstorming, trying to feel different things. So I at one point I noticed that I was inclined to the culinary arts. So I went to the Pasadena School of Culinary Arts. I actually was immersed in that culture for a while. I was interested in wine, beer, trying to see different paths. And slowly, whenever I wanted to I ended up always doing coffee. Like even as I was doing pastry. I was doing anything, and I ended up, very focused on trying to replicate and do something with my coffee. And I say, you know what, that's what I want to do, basically.
You after you went to school, you I had emailed a little bit, and you started roasting at home,
Yeah,
and then you purchased a small roaster and a production area here in Vista, California.
right.
What made you decide to pick the Origen or the Origen name?
Origin is fine the way you say it. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to be respectful of the name, but my pronunciation's not great, so I want to make
No,
sure that I'm
that's
getting it right.
perfect. And I want to share something with you later after I name the coffee business. Okay, but yeah, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Well, my question is, where did that name come for you, and what does it mean for the coffee company?
Oh, okay. Well, for me it was something. As an outsider from right here, it was very intuitive. Origin basically or literally means origin. Origen or origin is basically where you are coming from. Basically, your roots. Basically means go back to the land. It's Origin basically. It's just that you change the I with the E. In Spanish, is Origen. It's the same thing, Origin. The name came after, I have a couple of, I was brainstorming a little bit, and then I said, it actually makes totally sense to me, and I felt so comfortable. And marketing in the school, because I actually went to business school also at one point. They were telling you, oh, make something clever, a name that is. So I was trying to play with it, and I said, you know what? No, it doesn't make sense to me. I was like always like, I want to put it the way I feel it. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to turn right away. I wanted to really explore and see the business from a different perspective, out of the traditional business school, basically. And that's how I ended up with Origen.
Once you launched as a company, you started, I think, as an online store,
Yes.
and now you have a cafe spot in a business park in Carlsbad that I've been to, that I stopped by. But this last year, with a lot of businesses doing work from home, how did you adapt to that? And have things changed now that people are going back to work in the office?
For us, it's been like anyone else. We are being impacted drastically. For Origen, actually, the impact is very positive, though, and I'm very humble to say that when we started this concept, when I started this concept, I wanted to do it in a way with no pressure. I was very, with my career, with the previous former career, was a busy man. I didn't have any pressure of oh, I have to do it in X amount of time or whatever. So I did it slowly, and I tried to make a good foundation for it. So lots of education, and I wanted to put everything, the seeds, and plant the seeds actually on the soil very well. So I think this health situation helped me to actually verify that I actually did very well, because at that time one of the first thing was, okay, how can I put this coffee in customers' hands? So I started an online business, and I, obviously, if no one knows you, you know, I decided to go to a farmers market, and I wanted to, see that experience firsthand, and I wasn't in a hurry. I said, to myself, one customer a week is perfect for me, One, if you do the math, that's with four customers a month, So I start adding and adding and adding. Turns out that I start making more and more and more, and I think the quality of our products, and I'm very humble, and a lot of our customers actually feel the same way. Those are the things that actually keep us afloat, basically. And I know sometimes I feel bad for a lot of coffee shops. I like a lot of customers that they are struggling and everything, but for us was the opposite. In 2018, I did implement a very new quality control system in our roastery, actually from the very early stages of 2018. And I started seeing right away, within 2 or 3, 4 months, I saw our sales doubling. Actually, we were like 150% up and to 100%. Then the pandemic came, and actually it was like a ripple effect, And that was, I understand, a lot of coffee shops closed the doors, and a lot of people were in the farmer market. We were on the outside most of the time. So for me, I started seeing like I couldn't catch up with my orders, green coffee. So I have to, order more, going to Origin, to Origen basically, and I started, getting more coffee and more green coffee and more green coffee, and today it's been blessed. It's a lot of work, and we are just working in another area right now, and we have in parallel another place working right now in another farmers market. So very busy, thanks God.
You definitely are diversified with the farmers markets and online and the business park. The one day that I stopped by was kind of the middle of the afternoon, and there were still people kind of coming into this business park, where you have a really cool container set up.
Right.
How do you manage balancing that act between trying to create the foundation in these online sales and making sure you can adjust, but also creating engagement with the customers that are coming up during COVID, during the pandemic? They're taking
Yeah.
time out of their day and they want to spend it with you.
Right. Sometimes you think about, sometimes things come by itself. I was thinking a little bit, to my father, my mom, the way they used to do business at one point. And I remember I was 7, 8, 10 years, and I was actually managing their businesses. I was actually very focus oriented. So I am a believer that you have to interact with your customers. You have to feel. You have to see in a third dimension, not just when you're online. It feels cold to me, even though sometimes you know the person or something, but when you are face to face in a farmer market, or when I go to my cafes that we supply right here in San Diego, we go and we deliver the coffee and people is waiting for us. Sometimes people is like waving like, hey, the coffee arrived, because sometimes we were late, or our customer or the cafe was actually running low, and we arrived with the coffee and we feel that energy. That's our steam basically. That's what keeps us moving.
Part of your team, I believe, is your wife and your family that works with you.
Yes.
What is that experience like? I've had the opportunity to work with my wife. You're spending a lot of time together. You're creating a business together. What is that experience like for you?
Origen Coffee business is mainly a family-owned business. We have we that's the core, right? We have to manage our roastery, or cafe, or farmers markets, and online sales, and all the families involved in one way or another. My wife, though, she's very good and different. She's actually a barista, a coffee lover too. She's right now at one of the farmers markets, and very busy. Sometimes my daughter is delivering coffee, my wife, myself. My wife is also an accountant. So everything kind of, we put everything together. I am, I'm doing the maintenance on the machine. I'm upgrading software. I am doing all different things. Even my youngest daughter, she's very good on face to face with the customers and explaining the origin of the coffees, and I see that she's very good also in touching base with them and with their needs basically. So I think it's a very good experience for me. It wasn't always very good. We crash a lot of times. Sometimes with my daughter or my wife, they say you are so bossy. Sometimes you tell, well, it's hard to make a line, and to break a line. And sometimes when I am in a different scenario, I tell you know what, a business is a business, and if we are there, if I don't tell you, honey, or if I don't tell you to my daughter, and I tell your name, don't feel bad. It's just that we're in front of our customers, and I don't wanna, I wanna keep that relationship separate. But sometimes it's hard to break it. Oh, so hard.
Very hard. I worked for a family restaurant, so I worked for my
Yeah,
dad and my mom. We all worked there together, and I was looking back. I think about how busy we were all the time because we were doing all this, those things that you were doing. And
right.
sometimes I wonder, my parents probably didn't get to see each other very much because one of them would work during the day and one would work at night, or
Yeah.
they would alternate. And that's something that as an entrepreneur you is different than going to the office 9 to 5 every day.
So here's the thing. My wife, she's a coffee lover. She's a barista. She's the CEO of the company. She's actually the cook of our kitchen, because we also have a kitchen, for the deli and everything. I'm his helper. When I am roasting, she's helping me on the roasting. I'm the head roaster. I'm the president. My daughter, she's a barista. Then she's a customer sales. So we work we put different hats together. But the bottom line is that you know it's a family business, and yes, we have sometimes conflicts. But we overcome, and that's, I think, that's our strength basically.
You mentioned that when the pandemic started, you had to like kind of you had to pick up how much coffee you were roasting and how much was selling. You could see your sales going up. I recently drank a Bolivia coffee of yours that I really enjoyed. What do you look for when you're looking for a green coffee? I'm assuming you get a lot of coffee from Mexico, but obviously you expand out into all different regions. So
Well, thank you for touching base. Basically, I am not. We are not fixed to a place. So the way I started this is like, when I start going to seminars, trade shows, you start knowing a lot of people on the industry. I actually do direct trade with a few farmers. You can't do anything, everything. I have a very good importer, but most of the times I go to my suppliers directly and I say, you know what, I really want 10 bucks of the next crop, but you anticipate that, like a year ago, I want to make sure I have this lot, and I want to buy it, obviously subject to approval. Is there any way you can put it to with my importer, or sometimes I can work with your importer, whoever, whatever works, you find a way. So I am constantly sourcing coffee from all over the world, basically. Yeah, Bolivia is actually one of the new ones. Actually, the first time I had Bolivia into the, I was missing. A lot of the times I was working with Peru, so I was exploring Peru for 2 or 3 years, and getting very good results. I was actually honored to have one of the one of the Cup of Excellence at one point from Peru. Guatemala. I'm actually working right now with farms in Guatemala, and they are coming in a few weeks. Colombia's, Ethiopia, all over the world. So it's just a network connecting, and I think this is what coffee is about. It's open your senses, open your view, and try to find something and pretty much share that with your customers, basically. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, the Bolivia was one of the first ones I have from Bolivia, though.
Speaking of sharing things with your customers, you've done all these different things in the past. What is it that you guys are looking forward to doing in the future? What's coming up next for the coffee company?
Origen, yeah. Well, there's a need for expansion. Our roastery needs an upgrade, in terms of space. We have to, I have to. We actually have some plans right now. We are working. I'm trying to. That's in the near future. That's the main thing right now, because you're gonna be surprised, but this is the first time we are actually doing retail, other than partner markets, just this year. So most of our business is online, wholesale, coffee shops around San Diego, and a lot of coffee club subscriptions. That's mainly our business. So I started doing retail. So the other expansion, it will be retail. That's another thing that we are looking for down the road. We just opened this year, actually, at the first retail, but I wanted first. My main priority was the quality, the roasting. Make sure I have a connection with my customers, and that was the thing. So, but yes, so expansion of the roastery. Definitely look for more retail spaces, and something new that we are doing actually is we are listening to our customers, and we are going to their particular communities. We are just launching. I just designed a card, coffee card. So I have a coffee card right now. I don't. Your customers doesn't. I mean, your guest doesn't see it right now, but this is one of our first coffee cards that we designed right here. So it's all contained with everything. We do right here pour overs, very good espressos. So people experience this at their own communities. That's what we are actually doing this year too.
Very cool. Yeah. We were talking about that and how you were connecting with various homeowners groups and associations to find out who would
Right.
want you to come into their neighborhoods. I want to make sure that I give you a chance to or to tell us, is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you would what would you like people to know about your company?
Well, Origen Coffee is it's a little bit of out of the traditional. If you look at my specialty coffee, most of the specialty coffee, and I really, I support a lot of our roasters that they are doing very well, and they are sourcing coffees, very good coffees. However, Origen Coffee is mainly organic specialty coffee, and that's something that it is hard. I understand. Some people might say, you know what, I don't care as long as the coffee tastes good. For me, organic is respect for the land. For me, organic is respect for the workers. For me, organic is respect for my customers too. And so we from the very beginning, most of our business is organic specialty, not just organic, because organic doesn't mean quality at all to me. It has to be specialty organic. So it takes a little bit longer to find really good lots, but I think is we as a roasters need to communicate and encourage this practice. Everyone get better, especially right now with all these situations where we have climate change. We have to respect our environment as much as we can. And that's one of the views of Origen, of specialty coffee, organic. And I hope my customers realize that that it's organic specialty coffee.
So the last question I have for you today, and this is something I ask everybody, is if you were to go to another coffee roaster, another coffee shop, what kind of coffee do you order for yourself?
Actually, you just catch me right now. I was just drinking my cappuccino, right? So I enjoy most of the coffee, but I have three. I am inclined in actually three beverages. First, it could be a very good espresso. I don't know if have you been in a Mexican restaurant? I'm
Hmm.
from Mexico again. When I go to a Mexican restaurant, actually, if you are in Mexico and you go to a Mexican restaurant, you ask for the salsa, right? And then if the salsa is good, and that's actually most people say, more than likely everything inside is gonna be good. Espresso is what it is for me. If you go to a coffee shop, if I find a very good espresso, chances are that most of the coffees are actually really good too. Sometimes espresso tells you a lot, like the salsa though. Cappuccino is another one, and it really tells you about the barista. It tells you about the skills you have as a barista, but also cappuccinos are, to me, it's a perfect movie. You have the coffee, which is the protagonist, and you have your antagonist, which is the milk. They have to be in harmony. So so to me, I really enjoy a cappuccino because I feel the sweetness of that milk with that coffee, and really made me wonder, and made me kind of go beyond. Now the other one is one of my favorites, actually, I can say. Any drip coffee, my favorite pour over. I like to explore and really see that particular taste of that particular land, of that particular farmer, of that particular region. That's what I wanted to see. So a very good Ethiopia Jirgachev versus a very good natural Ethiopia. You feel it. You with a put over. Go to Guatemala, 7 regions of Guatemala. You can go to and get something kind of very sweet and I can say good acidity, or you can get something more like more creamy taste. Definitely a put over is probably what I'm more leaning towards when I'm looking for just a black coffee.
I love that description of the cappuccino being like a movie with the protagonist. That's
Yeah.
really an interesting way to think about it. And
Yeah. Especially for the I have a lot of customers who are actually Italians, and they came to our shop, and they actually agree on the same thing. It has to be a balance. There are different variations. Some people say, "Oh, I want you know a, a a cortado very close to a cappuccino. Make sure you have The idea is that they want something balanced. And that's how you understand the needs of a customer. And the lattes is more for the American and also respectful too, but it's more milk. It's unbalanced. More milk than coffee though. And then the flavorings is another thing. So not much fan of the flavors and everything. Additional flavorings, because our coffees are really flavorful by itself. So you don't actually need to do anything. But
well, I agree. The coffee that I had was really enjoyable. I actually drank it as a French press, as a pour over, and just really was able to taste different things depending on how I brewed it. So I really
thank
appreciated
you
that you
very
were
much.
sharing that with me. Ruben, I really appreciate you joining the show today, and just congratulations on the last year and the success you've had. And I'm excited to see what you've got coming out in the future.
It is my honor, my pleasure, and I want to thank you and your audience also for listening to us. Okay.
Okay, to recap, Origen Coffee Roasters sells specialty organic coffee online at local farmers markets and cafes, and they opened their first retail space in Carlsbad, California this year. They're looking forward towards the expansion of their roastery and into more retail spaces. Ruben briefly mentioned it, but one way they are expanding is by partnering with community homeowners associations to set up coffee carts designed to create cafe-like experiences right in the neighborhood. They already have one pilot cart running in a private community in Rancho Santa Fe. It's a pretty unique business model that I haven't heard before. Ruben and I chatted a few weeks ago, but this week I checked in on him to see what they were serving right now. And he said they were serving some new single origin coffees from Honduras, Guatemala, and Colombia. I'll link to their online shop in the show notes. I mentioned in the opener that I had a cold brew that I picked up on a recent road trip. I was driving from the Midwest back to California, and while it was a very direct trip, without a lot of relaxing vacation time, I did make a point to hit up as many coffee roasteries as I could along the way. My very first stop was at Ruby Colorful Coffee Roasters in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. They also have a roasting facility in nearby Nelsonville. Walking into the cafe right near the downtown, the river, and the University of Wisconsin campus, I felt right at home, in part because Wisconsin is my own origin source, but also because it just had a very relaxed vibe. And the Ruby baristas Abby and Aaron and the general manager Kellen were incredibly welcoming. Kellen even took a moment to tell me how he got into coffee. Just a note before I play this, we were standing in a working cafe, and we were both wearing masks, which is why the audio is a little muffled. What got you into coffee, and why do you like it or love it?
Okay, so my name is Kellen Ferkey, Kellenferkey. I work for Ruby Coffee Roasters. I run the Ruby Cafe in Stevens Point, and the GM. Coffee started for me when I was 16 years old, and I was downtown Madison. I don't even know the name of the small coffee shop, and I had my first shot of espresso, and from then on things changed. But the atmosphere of a coffee shop when I was a teenager was honestly what drew me to coffee. And I have a food background, and having a cafe that is local focused and community focused was something that was on my mind for a long time. But coffee and food always go together, and this is where it all landed.
Check out @Ruby Roasters on Instagram, and I'll link to the Ruby website and share some photos from the trip on roastwestcoast.com. Plus, I'm looking forward to sharing some more travel clips with you in upcoming episodes from far-off places like Fruta, Colorado, which is one of my favorite stopping points on the drive between the Midwest and the coast, and the Aspen Street Coffee Company is one of the reasons why. If you have been enjoying listening to the stories of entrepreneurship, of coffee professionals, of coffee itself, please share the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast with a friend. And if you've got time to give us a review on Apple or wherever you listen, I promise it will be appreciated. Organic word of mouth is the best way for this show to grow, and honestly, I can't thank you enough for listening and making a point to appreciate your morning cups of coffee just a little bit more. If this episode inspired you to drink some coffee, please stop by one of this show's roast industry partners like Café Laterre, Camp Coffee Company, or Coffee Cycle Roasting. You could also order a bag or two for at home from Steady State Roasting, Moster Coffee Company, or Zumbar Coffee and Tea. And if you need a little monthly pick-me-up, think about setting up a subscription so you never run out from Maria Coffee or Leap Coffee. I'll link to all of those great roast industry partners online. And as always, thanks to Cape Horn Coffee Importers and First Light Whiskey for supporting this show and helping me grow the craft coffee community. I also want to thank Ruben for spending some time with me on the Roast West Coast Coffee Podcast. This episode has been written, produced, and recorded by me, Ryan Wolt. I hope this show has found you happy, healthy, and with at least enough sanity to make it through the day. And please, always tip your baristas and be sure to drink good coffee.